You have? No, but for the record. You see, we have a record here, and for the media. I know you are escaping for the media to get the detail. You are saying yes. No. No, don't be that clever. So in 2008, government of Uganda earmarked 30 billion to be paid as casino to persons who contributed to the liberation war efforts in 3 consecutive years. The payments were made to be as follows: 10 billion for each of the 10 million for each of the historical members of the National Resistance Council (NRC), 5 million for each of the leaders in the bush, while the other civilians were to be paid 1.5 each as one-off settlement. Funds were to be wired to OPM, compensation account number, that number in Centenary Bank, suspense account for onward remittances to the beneficiary. During the financial year under review, 9.08 billion was transferred to that account in the Centenary Bank for paying casino beneficiaries. I noted that the verification committee had submitted a list of 3,283 beneficiaries worth 7.67 billion. However, by the time of writing this report, no beneficiary had been paid. Failure to remit funds to the intended beneficiary negates the purpose for which some of these funds were created and available for the entity. Can you explain why? Because these were verified. You got the money. Here you had an excuse of saying money was not warranted, that was for veterans. But here you are, you got the 10 billion. So where is the people's money? Which shape they are in, and how old they are. You can imagine the time this government captured power, I was in primary 4 myself. So you can imagine someone who was 30 then, and you sit on his casino. Okay, tell us, where is this money, sir?
The list came out. There were some issues that required investigations, and ISO verified the reports, which they have since cleared, and we've been cleared to pay, with the president saying we should pay after the ISO verification report. So right now, payment is ongoing.
No, by the time of the audit, where was this money?
The money was with Centenary Bank.
With the what?
Centenary Bank.
So, Mr. Chairman, I want him to take us
for a certain period of time and ended, at least by now. I happen to have been a chair of the Presidential Affairs Committee, where this money is always channeled through. Mr. Chairman, I don't know what informs government decision always, because you see the amount they have put here. Now they are saying they have to verify. So what informed the decision for this amount before they had to verify? Because I thought you would first count the people, verify them, and then you take a decision on how much should be requested for. But now here, they have been requesting for money. Money has been appropriated by this house, but up to today, they are still verifying. What does that mean? They are putting in the new lists and the lists that don't deserve to benefit from this.
Where you had counted for this amount of money, did you have a list of beneficiaries?
Thank you, Chair. The list for is generated by the Veterans Verification Committee, which is chaired by retired Brigadier Jacob Asimwe. They prepare, they verify, because they are the ones who know who did what, which role he played. After they have verified, they process.
Was this the first year of payment of the casino?
No.
It was not the first year of payment of the casino.
Yes, please.
It was a continuing process. So by the time you made a budget of 10 billion, in the first year you paid how much?
We've been paying since...
No. How many years have by the time of the audit, it was supposed to last 3 years.
At the first time, no, this is the 10th year that the process is being paid.
This is the 10th year
Yes.
that you are paying
Yes.
for Casimo.
Yes.
Therefore, since then, you have a verified list.
We have.
Because you are paying. You are paying Muwanga, paying so-and-so, paying so-and-so, paying so-and-so. So, you can't reach this year and say, now I need to verify you. You have a schedule of payment. And it has been running for 10 years. Don't sit. It has been running for 10 years.
Yes.
Okay? What happened that in this year you needed to verify? Again.
There were allegations that some people who had benefited before were not the right ones. Security picked the interest, and OPM requested for a re-verification of the lists, because OPM is not of the lists, of the generating the lists. So we process what is given to us. So when the issue of complaints came to OPM, we had to give it to another entity of government to re-verify and confirm. It is after they had verified and confirmed that we were able to pay. We could not continue processing to pay until that process is done.
But let me ask you, I've seen the NRC. Do you need a verification of NRC members?
And how long does that?
Those ones were already paid for. All of them were paid the first.
The NRC?
Yes.
So which other group had you not paid?
It is the lower group, the people who, the 1.5 and 5 million, they are the ones that are still ongoing.
The 5 millions were what?
The people who had offered, who had contributed substantially. And remember, for some of us were not there, so it's not us to determine who was to be paid.
How do you quantify substantial?
The committee has a schedule where they determine who contributed substantial.
So, okay,
Chair.
so far.
Excuse me, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say, it be OPM to do implementation, because the mandate of OPM is to coordinate. But OPM has decided to hold on to these projects where there's money to do the implementation themselves. This money, these people are being verified by another entity. And then when it comes to payment, it should be OPM. Why wouldn't it be that those people who are being compensated should be paid? Since they are veterans, there's a ministry for veterans. Why wouldn't that ministry handle this kind of issue if they don't have interest?
Chair, the category under query is not the cadres who are paid 10 million. And yet the report here says that by the time of this audit, no beneficiary has been given the money. And you are clearly saying that you have the bank statement of the money intact. Would you say were paid other than the ones who did not get payment?
Thank you.
Maybe I can help him.
Yes.
Giving money. Then as to why OPM, it was a government decision that OPM handles the civilian veterans. The Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs handles those who were in the soldiers who acted during the period.
Let me quote, and you are not disputing it here. The Auditor General says during the financial year, 9.08 was transferred to the account in Centenary Park for payment of Casimo. I noted that the verification had not some 6 billion. But even then, for those ones, you requested a supplementary of 22. I mean, you requested for 22, you are allocated 10.22 billion. So how much is on that account exactly?
The account in Centenary?
Yes.
9.8 billion.
9.8?
Billion.
9.8. So where is the excess?
We have a holding account. We need
No,
to
no, where is the excess?
For me, I
No, you got 10.22. And you transferred. How much money did you transfer to that account?
we transferred 9.8. What we got, what we received, is what we transferred.
How much money did you receive in that financial year for this?
9.8 billion. All what we got, we transferred to Centenary, because Centenary holds the holding account.
Out of the budget of 22, if you go to page finance development, the compensation for rural veterans, that is the 12.1, which was not released. If you get this 12.1 and what was released, it goes to.
Yeah, why I'm asking, you know, we have a budget 10.08 on this one. And you are now saying you transferred 9 point. There is a difference of 280 million. Where did it disappear? No, not 2.8. It's 280. Do you have an answer, sir? No, sir. The reason why you've come with this team here is for each one to, they don't need to whisper.
The committee incurs operational costs, because for them to be able to generate that list, it requires really extensive. The operational costs related to, they have to travel to verify, they have costs for stationery, they have costs for allowance for members, so it adds up to the 284 million shillings.
So he's wrong. The money you got was not totally all transferred to the suspense account. Are you now realizing that you are giving the committee wrong administration cost? Did you have a cost for administration in the work plan?
Those details, can provide those details, a detailed breakdown of how much goes to the actual compensation.
No. There is a budget.
Right.
Who among you runs this fund? Is it you?
It's the portfolio for Luero.
No. Who the desk officer that runs this? Is he paid by government? He's a civil servant. Paid you are no more allowances. So what's that other committee? There is a veterans committee that verifies this. Show us the plan. Because you had a budget that went to 22, much as it was not all given. You had only verified 7. This is what it shows. But you were given 10. But you, on that item, before you could even spend, you processed a what? A supplementary. That rose, put it to 22.425 billion. So what was the motivation for all these maneuvers?
Chair, I also would ask in the administration, can we also have some evidence of the payment of these people? And the names?
No, first wait. This gentleman here has a good explanation here. Can you give him the mic permanently? JB.
Financial 2023 never received a supplementary for Kasim. What was appropriated by Parliament was the 22 billion. However, when it came to actual execution, received the 10 point something in
What was budgeted for under the financial year was 22. Okay, fine. No, 22. But in this financial year, you have verified the beneficiary. of 3,000 was worth a 7.6. But you asked for 22. But even when you got the 22, the 10, you know you transferred only 9.8. Even if that was to be transferred, you still could not have consumed that money.
And if we are not for how that we are avoiding the authenticity of the list, of course, the verification keeps providing detailed updates on the beneficiaries. So the first they submit was amount to 7 million. So eventually, it would have consumed that money.
But can I ask you, are you paying even relatives of the veterans, or you pay the real one that really afford? What is this verification thing? Are you paying even relatives, or you are paying those that are alive?
Mr. Chairman, this takes us back to what I said.
In regard to Akasimo, how many people did you exactly pay? If zero, that means on that output, there was zero performance. Two, when it comes to the 200, around 214 million that was paid to the verification team, we need to have a breakdown. How do you spend 214 million for just verification? Honorable Chair, you realize that the reason as to why they did not spend this money, this brings us back to poor planning. Because what informs your work plan? Much as they had to verify, if this list had been, because remember, you verified before, if another third party had to come in for verification, it wouldn't take too long. So here you are, you have people aged beyond above 80, 90. You delay their money to some, I believe even some of them have died. Most of them have died. So because for this one, you may not directly benefit from it, you can pay at leisure. Honorable Chair, we cannot allow, because we believe these war veterans contributed to this country. So for you at leisure to pay them anytime you want, you relax, you know, where you feel like you should pay them. Chair, we cannot take this kind of laxity for granted. Because this means there is poor planning in the office of the Prime Minister, or else, because you don't directly benefit from this money, you are not obliged to pay in time. Honorable Mr. Accounting Officer, are you being fair to the so-called war veterans and these other people who facilitated to the liberation of the war in Ruero? Are we being serious on this by your actions?
Breakdown of this 284. Then 3, we would have completed the payment in the course of the year if it had not been the investigation. Why the investigation? The investigation came as a result of some of the issues you are raising, that there could have been people who have infiltrated on the list. Then there are those who had already been paid, but they were again appearing on the list. And then also to take care of those who had died, because the next of kin would be able to be paid. So that is why, Honorable Chair, we submitted this list to the investigative organ of ISO. They have completed their work, and they have submitted their report. And the report is, the verification committee has also consented the report. His Excellency the President has also consented the report, and we are now paying.
Honorable Chair, this means after verification, the assumption is when you go to verify, you identify the right beneficiaries. Here we are, government paying 280 million to a verification team whose activity was investigated. We need to know from the report, after the investigation, how many were pulled off the list and how many remained. Honorable members, this means the verification committee needs to refund the money for failure to execute, duly execute their mandate, because I believe the verification committee must have officers of government with their competence and history of the people they verify on. How do we pay 200 million and after verification you find that 50% of those verified are pulled off the list? How? The activity is not done in time. You pay you pay that money 880 million 100%. So meaning somebody has to refund some money. There was no value for money for the activity or the assignment that was carried out, and we need to know for how long has these members of the verification committee been part of that committee? For how long have they been there? Have they been part of the committee that has been verifying previously, or they are new on the committee.
As a detail, one update of how many people so far you've paid up to date. Okay, by end of today. You are saying you are paying, sir? Sir, you are saying you are paying? So how much money have you paid so far now?
Now, the first phase of the payment is 3 billion.
3 billion.
Yes, for the first phase.
Okay.
Then, because there were some people whom again they are re-verifying, they are cleaning up, and we are also we expect a new schedule very soon before the end of this month, and we pay that one.
So far you have, out of the 10, you have only paid 3.
That's the cleared first.
No, you have, sir, don't just clear first for a second. So far you have paid 3.
Yeah, that's the one that we are in, is being paid right now.
It's even being paid.
Yes.
So it's being paid. So yes. I'm saying, as of now, how much money have you paid?
I've told you that the 3.5 is the one, the first one that the first clearance we got is the one we are paying. Then, because when the list went to...
So how much money now is on the account, this account? How much money is now on the account?
You see,
No, let's go slow.
We have not seen. I think, Mr. Chairman,
that statement.
Chair, it is his document. You tell us your figures. I've given you the statement. You cannot even speak to them. You speak to your figures.
Right now, we transfer 9.8 to the account because that account is a holding account. When a schedule goes to Centenary, they keep knocking off.
Yeah, we are saying how
when
much.
We send another one. So right now, it is 10.017 that is on that account right now. 10 billion.
That's last year.
This statement was got this last month.
Chair, I think there is confusion here. No, let's be real. Chair. So there was still money on that account. Exactly. So when you add what was there and what you've spent so far, then it leaves a balance of 10.
Yes.
10 point what?
01.
10.01. So how much money have you paid? How much money did you have the balance brought forward to the year under review? How much was it?
That one can be said by the accountant, because for me I don't pay. But what is done is this.
No. Okay, let's talk figures.
Can you allow me to explain to you?
Okay.
Because if you keep asking me so many questions, you are not giving me a chance to explain.
Okay, sir, explain.
The process of payment goes like this. The verification committee produces a verification report, submits it to the office of the Prime Minister. Based on that one, we transfer the money to Centenary. Once the money gets to Centenary, the verification committee takes the details of those people to be paid to Centenary committee. So, and they are paid through their bank account. Each time the beneficiary goes to the bank and withdraws his verifies his identity, he is paid. After 6 months, then after 3 months, that's when the quota. Now, Centenary makes a return to OPM to say, you transferred 9.6 to us. These are the people that have come. Of the people you gave us, 20 or 30 have not come. A reconciliation is done by our accounts department between what has been done and the balance remaining. So once the balance that they give us, now we also communicate to the verification committee to produce an extra, more newer beneficiaries, because they have verified over 38,000 verified, whom they continue on when we give them a figure based on what we already have. So to ask somebody right now that what is the balance, nobody will tell it to you until we've gotten a reconciliation report from Centenary. And that's how the process is. So in this particular case, we've processed
the cleared amounts to go to pay. Now, Centenary is beginning the process of payment of the 1,270 that had been cleared. Once they have already been cleared, because some of them, we send a list, and by the time it reaches there, either somebody has died or somebody, and now they have processed the letters of administration for the newer person. So that's how it is done. So, and we always get, it's a continuous process, but the verification committee has over 38,000 people already verified that if the money would be available, they can all pay them at the same time. But because of budget provisions that are limited, we only pay when the amount of money we get is, we say we've gotten 10 billion, give us a schedule for 10 billion. But otherwise, they have the entire amount. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I want to request about 2 weeks. So we can write, then we can provide the bank statement.
Not only that, sir, you are going to be able to provide a list of veterans you've paid. Not in the past. Don't give us a long list. Since this audit year, you are going to provide the list of those you have paid. Okay.
Honorable Chair, I want to confirm that since this financial year began, there is no veteran who has received any money. We have just submitted the list to Centenary Bank for payment.
But he has said, but he has just said,
No,
let's listen to him. He has just said that there is already money that has been paid. 3 billion.
3 billion is the number, is the amount of money we are going to pay of the approved list of 1,271.
Now, which is which? Is this gentleman taking us for a ride?
Please take the accounting officers.
No, we can't take. You have an officer who is in charge.
I think accounting officer is only being very, very sincere by giving us these details. However, Chair, I think we are losing out on this. You're aware that we have budget constraints, and if we don't plan and prepare well, we are suffocating other entities that would have been benefiting from this money by keeping the money in the bank with the Centenary all this long. And yet other government departments that need the money, including environment, is not doing well. So I think we had better get more organized such that we don't keep money, and the Centenary Bank is making money out of our money that we are keeping there. They are making money. If for a whole 1 year, we are now coming to the tail end of appropriation, where you've requested for more money, and they have had that money for 1 year. How much money has Centenary made? How much have we suffocated other entities? So Chair, I think let's go by the request of the accounting officer, that let him give us a current status, a statement as per now, to inform us of what is there.
But now, we have the code of this committee. We'll find the 2 officers from OPM contradicting themselves. The only way we can proceed is if he withdraws his submission, which was misleading. If we are to take on yours, then he has to withdraw with an apology that you didn't for. We are, by the way, okay, this is not on a consolidated account, so it is on suspense account. But remember, if it was on a consolidated account, accounts are closing on the 15th of June. Now, that means for 2 years, you've kept this money, which you requested for, on that account, without the beneficiaries. Really, you ought to apologize to a country. Actually, to those veterans that put this government in power, and their children are not going to school, yet because of your, I don't want to call it incompetence, because of your work methods, I would have called it incompetence, but it's not, I'm being kind to you. They have not received their benefit. And then there's something you have to revise. Actually, your budget you've checked, it was 24.805. Okay? Not so? and then you revised it to downwards to 22.482. Do you have that instrument that revised that budget? Sir?
That cash transfer to those disaster-prone areas, the money which was transferred to Postbank. Up to now, the money is held in Postbank till recent and then few people benefited. You are aware of that money?
How much, sir?
The initial for the last financial year was 10 billions, and then this year 2.5 billions was received.
So total
Out of the 10 billion, 450 millions was utilized for the administrative costs of going to ascertain who are the beneficiaries and mapping out. And therefore, what is there is 11 billions.
for how long?
The 2 billion is for this financial year we recently transferred,
And
but
the
the
10
other year was 9.454.
It's also in a suspense account.
It is a suspense
I think, honorable colleagues, we shall need to take on finance. This business of keeping money on suspense accounts needs to be dealt with effectively. It seems that agencies that have competences, have no absorption capacity, so what they do, they just keep money on suspense account, so that is not swept back to the consolidated fund and you deny. It's something we've got to deal with it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to raise this because the beneficiaries whom they have given cards, they use them with cards. Because of the delay, they died in the matter. So they died. So as you speak now, you killed them. That's what I can say.
Okay.
So, Honorable Chair,
yes.
maybe issues that come up are beyond the Office of the Prime Minister. Like I explained, this money would have been paid in the last financial year if it had not been the investigation that was instituted. The report of the verified list now by ISO was received during the month of February, 2-3 months ago. And that's how we now started very fast to act.
Okay, because of time I want to run.
The same
now
applies to the landslides. There was a change which needed the cabinet, and cabinet during the month of February also approved, and that's how we now last.
Do you have the instrument that revised the budget 22? From 24 to 22 billion.
Yes, coming up now, as we submit details on this, I think we shall be able to submit. We need to review that when we get back.
Secondly, who is the head of accounts? How did you turn billion? Is it reflected anywhere? You have accounts, show us.
Chair, let me just take a few moments, then I come back.
No. This one you have to show. How did you treat this money? 8 billion. Fuel, lubricants and oils, 700. Vehicle maintenance, 300 million. Procurement of goods, 24 million. Travel inland for monitoring, 2.2 billion. Maintenance, civil renovation of Moroto Regional Office, 500. And then donation, which was procurement of iron sheets, this time of 8.8 billion. I read, out of the 29, accountabilities for activities worth 6.8 were with IGG at the time of my follow-up audit, and were therefore not verified. The table below refers the money that was. But what is concerns is that of this money, workshops and seminars took 1.8 billion. Travel inland took 1.8 billion. Fuel and lubricants, 700. Maintenance of vehicles, 300. And travel inland, another one, 2.5. A total of 6.8 billion of the 39. That's how we spent it. this is what it is, much as it is featuring as an audit query. Workshops, and this was money for distribution of goods. Look at your budget. Travel inland originally was 1.8. Workshops was 1.8. That's how we spent it. And so, fuel, this is how we spent the money, sir.
As the response to this 6.8 billion that was spent, Chair, as the response to the 6.8 billion that was spent on the moving around, can we know, because at the time of the audit, this exact figure was under investigation of the IGG. Is the report out?
The report is not yet out.
Okay, don't worry. The IGG, we don't want to interfere with IGG's work, but it is an audit question. There you go.
Honorable Chair, I beg to raise the question again.
Manner why it is so critical. Me and Mudimi have been sitting in the budget committee. The manner over which the agency you put on this money when we are processing the so-called supplementaries is like this Uganda will close if we don't give you this money. Now, we give you money, 39 billion, but you spent 6.8 of this money, 1.8 on workshop, 1.8 travel inland, 700 million you are buying lubricants, maintenance 300 billion, travel inland, another travel inland 2.5 billion, a total of 6.8 billion. Of a supplementary of 39. And this 39 was to procure goats and iron sheets for Karamoja.
Honorable Chair, this is the structure, the breakdown of the budget as it was presented during the request for supplementary. The procurables and the administrative expenditures. So this was as it was.
I'd like to ask the accounting officer for any money budget that you've been given. No percentage, it's at your discretion to give any money for recurrent in any way?
I can't quickly calculate the 6.8.
No, let somebody from accounts do the computation. What is the 6.8 billion of the 39? Honorable Chair and members, note that their travel inland on this money comes to close to 4 billion travel inland. When you add the 2.22 and 1.8, just travel inland, moving around, 4 billion. Are we being fair to the beneficiaries? And to make matters worse, you get the money to move around, the beneficiaries don't get the service in time. And this is fully paid.
It went ahead to approve with those expenditures as is. Their utilization is, but then the Auditor General reports that there is a special report on the iron sheets. Have you received that report? That they did a special report on iron sheets. So Auditor General, tell us the status of this report, because we're also part of this committee. This is the end of a financial year. This happened in 2000 and what? And 22-23. You've been investigating the iron sheet report. What's the status of this report, Auditor? And now we are almost completing another year without you giving a country or a report. Tell my namesake, that is extremely unfair to the taxpayers.
Chair, this audit was so technical.
About goats and iron
the
sheets.
people involved, we took a lot of time to interview, and some of them were not easily approachable. But we have now concluded.
But you have now concluded. So tell the Auditor General, Because these are now reports too I've asked for, and you seem to be dilly-dallying. You are sitting on the report of Lubowa, which is a special investigation. You get it? The Lubowa report, you said at a promise at the time of handing over the audit. Report to the speaker, it was ready. Up to now, you have failed to avail this country a Lubowa report. Now, you're also failing on this iron sheet what? Report. That's a poor record by the Auditor General. Otherwise, you are going for Mukene and you are leaving the Nairo patch to go free. You go for Mukene, reports of Mukene come out, we go after these officers that have lost 1 million, 2 million, we align them to CID, while these other big fish, you fail to produce the report. You tell the Auditor General the country is extremely not pleased with that conduct. And I really condemn him. Now let us go. Now he did a special audit on what? On the iron sheets. He's not producing it. It's not on record. Then he did a special report on Ujagali. He never produced. Tell the Auditor General the country is also becoming part of the corruption of this country. Because that breeds impunity. And we'll put pressure for him.
Chair was suggesting that just
Can I read for you, sir? I undertook the auditor notice. He undertook an audit of procurement and distribution of goods for Karamoja region for the financial year ended 22, 23, and 22, totaling to 25.38027, 22 billion, 25 billion 380, as indicated here below. He received you got a release as part of a supplementary of 24. There's also a release or part of normal release. You got 1.1. So you got 25 billion. Honorable colleagues, you remember we interacted with goats in agriculture. I hope these are not the same. These are different. These are different. You know, they were the ones who dealt with this. It seems goat business is very profitable for breeding. Now, this is how you go. Failure to utilize funds reduced in this financial year. You failed to utilize funds amounting to 1.1 billion meant to procure goods for Karamoja region during this financial year. And as such, these warrants were remained unutilized by the end of financial year. That's what happened. You came for a supplementary, given to you, gave you the money, you still like 1.1, and the Honorable Colleagues, this tells the story. Can I tell you a story? These guys here had a normal budget release of 1.1 million. They came for a supplementary of 24. You spent all the money for the supplementary. The 1.155 for the normal budget, you never spent it. So, the normal money for the budget you never spent. One for the supplementary, you rushed for it. Explanation, honorable colleagues. The officer is saying the accounting officer explained the utilization of 1.155 for procurement of goods was affected by investigation, subsequent arrest, and interdiction of key staff under the Department of Karamoja. That's what we explained. Now, but could it affect the 24 for the supplementary?
Honorable Chair, the 24 of the supplementary was in the previous financial year, 21-22. Financial year 22-23.
Which one?
The 1.15.
How about the 22?
It was
the 24.
Financial year 21-22. No, but it was all for God. That's why what again was talking about God. but the years are 2.
Yes, I can understand. I see 22, 23. So for the one for 24, for 22, 23, you 22, 23, 21, 22, you fully utilized it.
Yes, Chair.
Which is the 24.
Yes.
Now that's what was problems.
Yes.
And you could not guide and utilize
To execute the
1.1.
Yes, sir.
So the 1.1 remained unutilized because of the consequences of the problems associated with the 24.
Yes, Chair.
Okay? Now let's go and see the problems associated with the 24. Failure to distribute the required number of goats to each beneficiary. According to the management plan, each beneficiary was supposed to receive 16 goats. That is 10 East African female and 5 Gara and 1 male Boer, back to fasten multiplication of numbers. However, a review of the distribution list of beneficiaries indicated that some beneficiaries got less than the required numbers, with others receiving as low as 1 goat. The auditor noted that the delivery and distribution of the goats was not coordinated, and the suppliers made deliveries on different dates and months, which could have led to the failure to distribute the required number of goats to each beneficiary. So the intended objective of the above was not met. So because now these beneficiaries, some even got one, they received 1 goat out of the intended 16.
Honorable Chair, as we explained to the Auditor General, guidelines were issued to the district local governments, and indeed it is true, the beneficiary was supposed to get 16, but there was an unauthorized occurrence of these district committees waiting from what was guided. So they gave some people 6, others 10, others 11, others 1, but it was not authorized. For them, they thought that when we procure more and supply, they will make up for the gaps to each beneficiary. But it was not a sanctioning from Office of the Prime Minister.
Because normally when you are implementing these programs, you have a plan and a schedule on how you do it. I take this, for example, as a contract. Is it that anyone can come in to give new instructions as to when and how they want? Because if the district was come in to advise on how you would manage the beneficiaries, do you want to tell us that you were not, it wasn't a discussion, but the district, you just took the goats to the district and the district diverted from the guidelines that you were given? Because, yeah, this is unacceptable. You had a plan as the Prime Minister's office on how you were supposed to handle about $1 billion project. Then you want to tell us that as you go to the district diverted from the original implementation plan, and they did it otherwise, to the extent of diverting from 16 goats to 1 goat, and as the implementing agency you allow that? Accounting officer, is that fair?
Further, money that they use for transport and coordination meant for, if it was not supervision of that particular project. So what was that money?
Billion.
There's not 4 billion, because there was one for training and mindset change, and then there was the other one for operation. So what were the officers doing with that 4 billion?
I read, I've just come from the constituency. I want to supplement what Honorable Susan has just said. And with your indulgence, Honorable Chair, I want to take you back to page 9. So that will become factual. Because if the district diverted from the set guidelines, why was this money spent? When on page 9, Honorable Chair, the first table, First of all, there is travel inland, as the Honorable Susan has already said. That was about mindset change, peace building, meetings, and community peace caravan. But the last item is travel inland. What was the purpose? Coordination, supervision, monitoring, and security meetings. So, if the guidelines were set, what were you coordinating? What were you supervising? Did you actually go there? Are you honest by telling us that actually the district officials diverted from the set guidelines? Chair. Or you are
Like you're aware, for every project and program that government runs, there's always a coordinating officer who's directly responsible in the field as the project manager also. We want to assume that all these activities lined up by Honorable Xavier, especially relating to the field, was led by a team leader responsible for that and overseeing the implementation. Could we be correct to say that for this one, there was no leader in the field who was responsible?
Sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am very critically checking because you are put here, this money was for this, was this for this. And when the report says that people were given one goat, in some cases, nothing. I am nothing. There were people in the list who did not get even a half goat. I am from Karamoja myself. And when you did the monitoring, the supervision during your travel inland, did you check the guideline as per what is the quality, what is the size of the goats? Were they treated? Were they whatever? Because this distribution brought a disaster to Karamoja. Because the goats that came into touch with these ones have all died. As officer, what is your evaluation report? What do you say? Because now you have ended, you have not given some communities or the beneficiaries the goats. You have given one, which also died. Which finished, and we has brought disaster to Karamoja. As per now, the value for money, that government has spent 39 billion and no impact on the ground. What is your take in this sense? Because if you are not causing a financial loss to government, in that sense. So, the goats were not delivered. That's what I'm saying. I am a witness. They delivered one and nowhere, even nothing to some people. Did you deliver? And the size of goats were like these flasks here. And they were all sick. They are at a moribund state. And yet you went to supervise, to coordinate. My colleague has said, did you have officers on the ground that informed you? And you are lying to say that the district took over the responsibility to distribute in the hope that we are going to bring more to add. Are we sincere in this sense?
We can proceed. Let's go further on these goats. First of all, you used the 50 companies, 52. Can we have a list of those companies that you used to distribute these goods? The 50 companies, you have them? You have the list? You have the list? Accounting officer?
Yes, it is there.
You have?
It is there.
This list, you are going to submit it today.
Mr. Chairman, I think the people who are talking should really talk for purposes of record, because talking out of the...
They are going to your office to retrieve that list. Every document I'll ask you, I'll immediately go after here with the CID for retrieval. I want it at the end of today.
Mr. Chairman, you should tell us those ones which were not delivered.
Then, we know we are going slow. Now, Honorable Mudimi, we have the 190, let me see here. However, you are supposed to buy 900,000 goats worth 25 billion. So you are able to buy 73, is it? 608 goats. It's worth the same amount were distributed, leaving a balance of 192 goats worth 64. Yes.
Honorable Chair, members raised pertinent issues regarding the accounting officer's response on page 10. And when the pertinent issues were raised to the accounting officer, I was anxiously waiting for the response, but I haven't had any response regarding the deviation of district officials from the state guidelines, where OPM was completely absent, despite having spent the money that was meant for that activity. I didn't hear any response, and would it be procedure right that we proceed without hearing from the accounting officer?
I think we had noted that you did not have a response.
You could be having.
You have a response for the deviation.
There was a target, first of all, in terms of the numbers of beneficiaries, but also in terms of what each beneficiary would do, get as an allocation. So the deviation happened, the district governments wanted to reach as more, and the effect was to give less from the target 16. That's, that's the explanation.
So you gave
but it was an outcome which also,
what you are saying,
which we realized.
Can that justify why you gave someone one goat?
The details, the details can be given.
No. Can you justify that? Why along the way you began to distribute one?
Yeah, I can. That's
what was because you had an objective, yes. The intention, the goal to achieve. Yes. Do you achieve it by giving one goat without even, because I saw here you gave a male, you gave what for easy multiplication? These were the reasons. Now you gave one.
Honorable Chair, I request
now
also.
If you want to receive the male alone one, what would you use it for? How will it multiply?
Honorable Chair, I request the head of department who was the overseer of the activity to also supplement my explanation.
Who was that one?
Chair, I want to ask the response. Is that meaning that you distributed enough goat because the district wanted to distribute to many of them, that's why the goats were distributed to one? Because if it is so, then you will give us what the district distributed vis-a-vis what was approved to be distributed.
Mr. Chairman, I also wanted to ask that one goat, was it in your work plan that you're going to give out one goat? Because I expect that you had a work plan and you knew that and the number of beneficiaries who are going to benefit from these goats, that is what informed your decision to say we are giving 6, we're giving 9, we're giving plus one more. So where did that one come from? Was it part of your budget? Was it part of your plan earlier on? Why did you deviate from your plan to listen to the district? Did the district give you the plan early? Did you consult with the district the needs of the people in that district before you decided to do what you were doing?
I have explained earlier that this happened without our authorization or no consent. It happened as an outcome on the ground. And that's how I requested that supplementary explanation be given.
Where were you when it was happening?
Charles around me. But we are saying, how did it go into a disarray when actually you had been given money for that very exercise to coordinate, to supervise, to monitor, to be around during this distribution? Because you see, deviation from guidelines would have been deterred by you being on ground. That's why this money had been earmarked and was given to you. That's why we want to hear. Did you spend the money and kept it in Kampala hotels, or you went on ground during distribution? If you went down during distribution, how did this occur?
Can you explain? Are you on interdiction yourself? Because those of interdiction, if you are not, I was going to send you to CID, but I'm a little being slow.
As my accounting officer said, we issued guidelines on how to have the goods distributed at the local level. And there were contract managers. But during the process of distribution, the gaps came in when some of us were called back to site to have those interactions. At that time, where the exercise was going on. So some of the gaps came in. Some of the gaps came in as a result of investigations. Because sometimes we are supposed to be quite reachable to answer a few queries as they come on board. So we left it to the district through our community mobilizers. So at the district level, when we also care what we also appreciate, that when we started giving in courts at the district level, more numbers also, I was informed more numbers came on board. So at that level...
But the question is, where you were in Chibuli, for the money it could be spent, the supervision...
Monitoring
yes,
was by the department.
Yes, but who was authorizing expenditures?
I did.
Because it's giving an explanation, because they were being held up in Chivuli, okay? So supervision was not effective. And then we asked, if we were being held up in Chivuli, who could authorize expenditure for work not being done? And he said, it's you.
Honorable Chair, these funds for monitoring and supervision are released in the form of an advance to aid or to facilitate officers to reach to the field. So, Chibuli could prevent an officer for 1 or 2 days, but that means he or she still has the money advanced to him or her to do the work.
So the money was advanced to him?
To the officers under him.
To you? To the officers. Can you give us the list of those officers and the amount of money that were advanced for each of them? Do you have it? Who has it?
Chair, I want to really give clear information that the officer saying that he was put in the cells during that time is lies. Because what I know, the goods were first given. It is, and they are arrested because of the issues of iron sheets. It is from the time the iron sheets saga came out. That's why most of them were what? But the goods, the complaint of the goods had taken several months. So you cannot just say it was hidden somewhere. And yet the truth is, the gold saga had taken long. But because the iron sheets was touching certain key areas, that's why they were taken. Thank you very much.
Can you give us the list? Accounting officer. You are going to give us the list of accounting officers. The list of officers who received the money. And each one of them and the respective amount that went to those officers. And you are getting that record today.
Clarification, is there any money for supervision that went to the district local government? Did you have any money to the district for supervision and monitoring? Accounting officer.
Did they work with the district?
Chair, all monies were advanced to contract managers to work with the district.
All the money was advanced to contract what?
Managers. There were contract managers per district. There were contract managers for my department per district to oversee the operations of this.
Yes, those are the contract managers we are going to need and the amount of money that went to each of them by end of today. And this time, I'm sending you here, accounting officer. From here, I'm sending you with the CID to go and pick those records.
But who identified those contract officers?
Yes, the last one.
You see, we must utilize the time we are here appropriately. You are telling us it is because you were taken away from the field that these things happened the way they happened. But Honorable here, he's saying actually you were arrested much after the goods distribution exercise. So, which can you precisely tell us the point of time at which you were arrested? Was it during goods distribution or much after? Secondly, do you want to tell us, because we are using it as an exercise, that because you were removed from the field, things went bizarre? Do you want to tell us you were there as individuals or as teams? And were these teams not trained, not sensitized, not aware of what they are supposed to do while in the field, either during your presence or in your absence?
Sir?
They were contract managers from what department?
No, answer the first one. Were you arrested during
this? Investigation is a process. It's not like one off. We started earlier, then this arrest came in.
Volume 7, we
okay.
need to hear
So
what you
the question we want to, the question the committee has established, Honorable Choma, is that the arrest came after.
Yes.
After the distribution.
After the investigation.
So there is no
but
way.
Along the distribution, there were investigations.
No, there is no way. They could not have investigated when there wasn't an alarm by that time.
No, it was not goods. It was at that time iron sheets.
Yes, there are iron sheets. But during the goat distribution, you were full on duty, yes, and things went normal.
Yes.
That's clear.
And they were contract managers.
And they were contract managers. And those contract managers are the ones that received money for implementation and monitoring and supervision.
Yes.
And each of the contract manager, you have an account and the amount that were allocated to those contract managers. Okay?
Yes.
And that account is going to be obtained today.
Yes, Chair.
Can we go to, now there is a small matter, not small. Can you account for 192 goats that were not procured at all? Despite having received this, we own 3223.
Into the documentation we used, this 192 was delivered. So when we gave the explanation to the Auditor General, he tasked our internal auditor to make a verification and reconciliation. And we assisted with that outcome.
What was the outcome?
Honorable Chair and members, let me request the internal audit unit to give.
Internal audit? What was the outcome? JP, where are you? It is on.
Thank you, Chair. When we got the information about the 192, we requested management to provide us with information. The information they gave us showed that the information that provided to the Auditor General had some mathematical error. Otherwise, the goats procured were 74,000, and all the goats that were procured were actually distributed. By the time of payment, we were verifying the payments for the goats. By that time, we would ask for information, we would get the contract, we would get the invoices, we would match them with the goods received note, which came from the district. And those goods received notes were written by the assistant inventory managers of the stores in each district and had been verified by the internal audit team at the district that all goods were actually received. And these goods, when at receipt, there would be a report about the health, the certificate of health from the district veterinary officers, and also a confirmation letter from the cow showing that all the animals have been received, the number of animals received as per the invoice, and also the distribution lists, including the consent forms. So every animal that was procured was actually distributed according to the consent forms which we received.
Can we have that report?
But Chair.
The report can be got from the accounting officer because we give it to him.
Chair, your question was a very simple goats. The 192 goats, were they also received? And why did the Auditor General not cancel this? You had exit meetings where you had to support the Auditor General with the request they made to you.
The honorable colleagues, the recommendation of internal audit. Do you have that report? Do you have that report, sir?
Honorable Chair, we are going to submit. We have the report.
You have the report. You are picking it today. Let's go to results of inspection. Honorable Chair, can you proceed? Let's go to the results of the inspection. Out of the 107 beneficiaries, the auditor was able to visit and interview 76 beneficiaries who acknowledged receipt of 1,116 goats worth 385 million. The balance of 31 goats could not be located since those had relocated from their unknown addresses. But for me, the interesting is two. Out of the 76 beneficiaries visited, 36 had 180 goats worth 72 million. And the balance of 934 goats worth 312 had either been roasted or died. Rustled or died. Now, what the auditor doesn't tell us is how many of them were rustled and how many of them died. Because what it means that you see the balance between 385 and the balance of 112. So the only money utilized was how much? It's 72. So the rest of this money, honorable colleagues, went to waste. And that is out of a sample of only 1,116 goats. If we were to extrapolate that and use it as a sample and factor it to the 73,000, who can give us quick math of the level of waste of the money? Oh, well, who is the quick math? Isma and Karamaji. Extrapolate and we'll give you the actual percentage so that you can know the level to which this money went to waste. Because out of only 30, you can even do the old math you used to do. Out of this, then you say 1, then you multiply and get the billion very quickly. We used to do that math very quickly. So, this is too sad a story to listen to. Accounting officer, do you have an explanation?
I may at the office of the Prime Minister, right away from the Prime Minister herself and all of us, have realized some of the shortcomings.
But just before you even listen, I also interviewed the 70 breeds of the goats supplied could not survive the Karamoja region's weather conditions, which could explain the high death rates. He now goes to high death rates not being rustled. There's a possibility that the adverse weather affected all the areas where the goats were distributed, resulting in death. Now, by 2, actually the rustling becomes less. We are now speaking about death. You obtained money the 6 point, what was it for? It was for supervision, monitoring, security meetings, and part of your supervision technical was to ensure whether these were you supposed to first have holding grounds for some time to see that these goats can weather the conditions in Karamoja before distributing them out. You get it? Yeah, because these are small procedures. Even a non-technical person, you are taking goats from Mbarara to Karamoja. You are, I think, under the contract, you are supposed to hold them somewhere for a specific period of time. Then know whether they can perform in that environment. It's simple things people do. Even when I want to buy cattle and I want to import it from Kashari to Butambala, I want to buy 100. I'll first bring some 3 or 5. Have them for about 5 months, 6 months, know how they perform. If I bring the whole herd. So those are small things.
Chair, but Chair, I was still trying to.
Officer, were you still in charge of this? Yes. But this, will it be too rush? But I don't know, you are still on introduction. I've sent you to CID straight, but you are on interdiction. Does that exonerate you to be sent to answer a case of a financial loss? The two of you.
Chair.
Before I go for the other people who...
I would submit to this honorable committee that technically before we procured, we requested for specifications from an institute of Naro, which is called the Nabuin Zonal Agriculture and Research Institute. This is the one which specified the breeds with understanding that these breeds will conform or comply, would work with the area. The outcome of this, there could be a combination of factors, but indeed we did this due process of requiring that technical specifications in conformity with the area be provided, and indeed the ZADI did provide that.
So,
and it is stated in our submission to the Director General as contained in this report.
That you got the confirmation?
The guidance on the specifications.
So, who affirmed that the 52 companies distributes goods that spoke to the recommendation of the other technical team?
These are the submissions from the DVO, the COW, and the teams which were in the district as a submission of the internal auditor.
Because have you worked out the numbers? Those numbers were quick. If I had time, I would have now produced. Because I want to show you, because if you are losing money, because it is very simple. Who is an accountant here among your team? Sir, it is 79 million that performed out of 300 and what? No, out of 380. It's 72 that performed out of 100, out of 385. Take 86 for roundabout. Take 73 for round up to the nearest 10th. So for me, give us what would have performed as a result of 24 billion. Very simple. No, even the amount of money, I don't want a percentage. That's a quick math you used to do. You just go for one, then you go for the rest of. You get.
Yeah, I just want.
You've worked out that number. I want you to know, you've worked out the number. How much money? 300 and what? 312 what? Yes, 312 million I already have. Now what I want, that is out of 312 million, is what performed out of 385. I want, if I were to take that as a sample, what would have performed out of the 24? Extrapolate now to the 24. I want you to extrapolate to the 24. Yeah, yes, because that does not take away the fact that near all the goats died, by the way. That's the whole conclusion, that all the goats you gave to out of, so the country lost 12 billion, 24 billion.
Let me apologize, I came from a municipality. And may I also officially complain that the beneficiaries, even in my region, I've always complained of the same issue. When you go for procurement, procurement of livestock, for instance, instead of asking the people what works best for them, because people want what makes money for them in their procurement system, they ignore the beneficiaries. And that has been across. So it is something that we need to deal with. I want to thank the Office of the Auditor General because they pointed out something that's really critical for action. Chair, thank you.
Chair, Leaders were required to have holding grounds where the health of the animals was inspected and vaccinated by the DVOs prior to distribution. Fields by the team comprising officers from OPM and district established that the death of some goats was occasioned by lack of shelter, which caused pneumonia during the rainy season. Some goats were stolen, while others were eaten by the beneficiaries. OPM will continuously engage the CEO. I mean, these are some of your explanations. Have you gotten the money, sir? How much? Don't feel shy, I know. Put it on record. You've got the money?
Taking 385 as the denominator.
Yes.
It gives 4.5 billion as performed.
4.5 billion as performed. That means out of the 24, the 20 billion would not have performed at all. 19.5 would not have performed at all. Why you give us the performance, you failed to give us the other one. We are interested in the non-performance, not the performance. So that's what it gives you, that out of 24. And if we are to go now and evaluate it today, you would find 0. Anyway,
Chair, I wanted really to bring my surprise communication here. Saying that all the goods that were procured were delivered. There is no shortage. It makes really, I'm sorry, but when you get, even in the auditor's report, saying 76 who accepted to be receiving, to be having 1,116, if you divided that, it comes to 14, which is not the amount. Out of the 30, the ones here who accepted to be having 182, the 76 who have this, it means it is 5. Meaning that where it has also deficits. Where is the interplay of not telling the truth in this sense? If it is not a connivance in order to punish you, the Karmojong, and also to make laws to government. And the reality is that there were no holding grounds, as somebody talks about, to make sure that this is checked. And more so, the prescription was this should be the East African goats. It is written there, which is the local goats. And you are saying there was no shelter. Do they have shelters? They suffer from whatever. Where did you get these ones who don't stay, whatever? So, I mean, I would really get to the bottom of some of these things. And we get it clear. It's really not good to manipulate games in paperwork. But the reality must prevail. Thank you.
Can I say this? And even if we now flog it for the next 1 hour, I don't think there is anything will make us headway. We will
But the country needs to understand, because, Chair, remember, there is a special report on the iron sheets that costed 8 billion. And we lack a special report with, conclusive conclusion on the goats that costed this country 24 billion. Are we being fair? The iron sheets of 8 billion had a special report. For the goats, we leave it as casual as seen here. Yes, please.
More so, iron sheets have taken us to levels of sanctions, even when the cases are not clear for some people. And now for goats, we are talking of 19.5 billion. Chair, are we going to let people go scot-free? Yes, because really, I think some people should be able to pay for their what? Sins. This is too much. These are roads for the entire Soroti city. 19.5 billion. You'd have made so many roads. You'd have saved the hospital from the dilapidated situations. But the Chair, if we leave these things to go the way they are, then we are not going anywhere as a country. We must start to act, and action should start now.
So what are you saying?
Let's identify the people responsible. Number one, in terms of the choice of the enterprise, who chose the intervention that this works for the region? Number two, if you say you are going to Nabwin, and those the people in Karamoja who know the conditions there, who chose, yes.
Honorable Chair, we should understand, are the officers of interdiction on issues of the iron sheets alone or the goats? We need to find out, are you for the iron sheets or for the goats?
Let us ask this one.
Honorable Chair, is being investigated by the IGG. I wanted to request the committee to prevail over IGG to speed up.
No. We are asking, are those officers on interdiction, are they on iron sheets or on goats? Because for us now, we own goats.
Honorable Chair, the officers are here, can answer for them.
Are you on interdiction on iron sheets or goats, accounting officer?
It was the cash, but the investigation was wide, and even the Presidential Affairs Committee of Parliament investigated goats and they presented a report to Parliament, but because the matter was in the court, Parliament also stood over it, pending conclusion of court process.
Is this matter of goats in court? Investigation and court processes.
Mr. Chairman, the accounting officer is saying the issue of goats is with the IGG. The other project officer is saying that the matter is in court. So which is which? I think we shouldn't be taken for granted. Something needs to be done. These people need to be put on oath. And we take everything they're going to say one by one as it comes out.
We know that usually CID is the one which investigates. When they investigate, they prefer charges based on what they have seen. So they charge, what was the issue? If they're investigating, they can't just investigate what is not known. Was it goats or iron sheets? That's what we want to know. The goats issue came out first. So, Chair, let the persons here not hide. Tell us the truth, the investigation, the interdiction.
So, are you on interdiction on iron sheets or on goats?
Honorable Chair, we are on interdiction following an investigation by the IGG. IGG preferred charges in court. But as to the depth of which 1, 2, 3 elements they have investigated, I can't.
Have you been already aligned in the courts of law?
We were there, sir.
You are there?
Yes.
Chair, on the first day in court, normally, they read out charges to somebody. So
what were the charges?
Here, maybe the CID should help really.
The charges related to...
Okay, simple, very simple. For us, what we shall do, we are referring you back to CID. If CID re-examines that there are ongoing investigations on the cases for which we have sent you, they will drop the case and go, because that detail can't process it now. So, accounting officer, my brother, you are reporting to CID. No, the CID will be able to process that and harmonize. If they feel it is still the same, you can't suffer double jeopardy, okay? Double jeopardy, so they will, but if you've done double.
Chair, your officer rightly told us
Can we proceed, honorable colleagues?
Thank you.
Because because people have come from up country, I don't want to hold you here for a long time. Some of you have not been counted, and you also need to account your homes. You've been away. Now, distribution of iron sheets. Yes.
I remember in the 9th Parliament we were handling a similar matter, and for it the suspects were already in the Ruzira, and we had been told that we could not proceed. But after soliciting for guidance from the Solicitor General, we were actually told our mandate was different from the mandate of court. And for us, we are simply processing
an audit
report. So since we have lawyers here, I was wondering, because if we create it now, that once an issue is somewhere we can't proceed, then we may find that we are not proceeding on any matter.
No, sir. I think
I'm just seeking for your guidance.
Yes, my ruling was not that we don't proceed.
Thank you, Chair.
My ruling was that we prefer these cases to the CID as a committee. If the CID realizes that they are on the same charge as we had preferred, they know what to do. I'm not saying we are skipping it, because we've got to produce an audit report. Whether they are IGG investigations or not, she has a mandate. We also pronounce ourselves. Okay? I think that was the ruling. Can we go to iron sheets? Record from OPGM stores in Namambe. No. A review of documents and stores records from then OPM. Just a general matter. You supervise other ministries and agencies, not so. But if you are like this, I think we should better recommend the Parliament for you to do what you to measure on what you measure on. I think you mess yourself up by going into this implementation. You get it? The moment you divert it from your core mandate to supervise other ministries, and you also become an implementing agency, I think you get issues. You may lack expertise, knowledge, depth. Now you are into goats. You ask any of you who is a goat expert, none.
Mr. Chairman.
But you are busy distributing. Then you have got to depend on another agency. So I think in one of recommendations, the PM should go back to our original mandate and do what they are supposed to do.
Man, they prefer to implement than to coordinate, because the implementation, so they run to that and leave the coordination, and then leave the other ministries that they are supposed to be coordinating in disarray, where they cannot even do anything now. So, Mr. Chairman, there's a problem. I think OPM needs to revisit their mandate and do what they're supposed to do, and not run to do what they're not supposed to do.
Okay. It will just...
Robert Savinya, and I'm
You're also in goods business.
No. I'm saying, let me just put the record correct. The OPM, as a ministry, as an entity, has several affirmative ministries. And those ministries, what we call affirmative ministries, the one of Teso, the one of Karamoja, Northern Uganda, they are full-fledged ministries, and they have parts of implementation. But coordination is also one department in the whole of OPM. It's different from the affirmative ministries.
Okay.
So implementation is allowed for those.
No, sir.
Affirmative
what
ministries.
we want to tell you, Honorable Sevunya, with due respect, if you want to rationalize and help a country, you must get off those ministries and to start doing what you must do. Coordinate, monitor, supervise other agencies. The moment you mix into implementation, have this mandate, that's why there is rationalization of just merging agencies is not the issue. You must rationalize at a political level. All those ministries should go and be standalone and supervise them as they are. But this one, you are the same people now. This is an accounting officer. Isn't he the accounting officer for those affirmative things? Same. But it's also the one for supervision and coordination. One accounting what? Officer. I expect an expert from you to advise government to move that way. Not to try and rationalize things that are really bizarre. If you are to help a country, these processes must lead to some discussion. The discussion is that, because year after year, I think there hasn't been a year from what other scandal? There is always a scandal in the office of the Prime Minister. Every 6 months there is, and because of that, it speaks to lack of capacity and capability and stepping out of them, and all of them have not come on your core mandate of supervision. Is where you go, PAPSCA, where, project, refugee, where. I know that's where smart money is. But officers can choose to follow the smart money and work where that smart money is. And leave the Prime Minister. I see even Madame Nabaja is everywhere, PDA, where. I mean, end result, this mess. Can we proceed?
Chair, before you proceed on the delay, no. Before you proceed, there's a serious matter here. Jumping away from there. Because my heart is already there.
No, that's where I'm going. 1.2. Distribution of iron sheets. Is it where it starts from? No. 3.31. A review of the documents and stores record from the OPM stores in Namabe reviewed that by the time of writing this report, October 2023, out of the 35,164 iron sheets procured by the ministry, only 15,272, 40% of iron sheets had been distributed, and the balance of 21,332, 57% iron sheets were still in OPM stores in Namabe. Details are here before. Busoga region, number of procured 9,000. You see the numbers, colleagues, there? Yes. Number distributed, only 5. Teso region, where you have a concern, number of iron sheets procured 6,972. Distributed 954. Only so 6,000 of them remain in the stores. Luero affairs, 8,874. Distributed only 22,200, and this is around the Kampala. Luero Triangle is my area, Butambala and Piji. How do you feel to distribute? Bunyoro affairs. Bunyoro affairs is distributed 100%. Because the Prime Minister comes from there. 100%. Northern Uganda, as usual, 4,985, distributed 1,440. So the total are there. This implies...
Mr. Chairman, before you continue, Karamoja is missing here in the list. It is one of the affirmative action regions. And so we want to know the number of iron sheets that were meant for Karamoja. It should have been here.
Well, Auditor, why did you jump Karamoja?
That's now in the separate.
It is in the separate, the one of 8 billion.
Yes, yes.
Now, the 8 billion, Chairman, is on the supplementary. It is not on the affirmative budget. Affirmative budget is not there.
Chair, I note here that the Karamoja has not been what? Because it's being handled in a separate document. That note ought to have been included here.
It's indicated in the report.
Is it indicated?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Investigation.
Should have been here. You should have done it within this area so that it's easier for us. But Chair, I don't
Mr. Chairman, can he clearly tell us where it is? We don't know how we are going to move. Let's know that one also, because it is supposed to be part of this. So tell us where it is so that we can move.
Paragraph. From the table, I have seen the third paragraph says OPM has since resumed distribution of the iron sheets, and so far distribution of iron sheets for Busoga, Luero, Tes, and Bunyoro have been distributed. Following clearance by Attorney General, the distribution of Karamoja sheets is scheduled to start and will be completed by end of December. Is that what you are saying is here? I think it is not. It is not what we are looking for. Tell us the number procured, and then, because some were distributed, some actually got out. What is remaining? So I think this is wrong. You tell us what you have. Tell us what you procured. Yes.
Yeah, we first deal with what we have now. Given the fact that the other information, the Auditor General has it, they are going to give us. They can give us in the course of what? Before we finish this, the document
Honorable Silas, we need to know, was Karamoja the affirmative action beneficiaries? If
see,
there were, let's know the numbers. No, for purposes of knowing the numbers, if they were not distributed, it is okay. But to know that Karamoja was also part of this program, planned, that's what we need to know, not the details.
Yes. Honorable Chair. This is the year in which investigations were running on the iron sheets for Karamoja. So it wasn't possible to procure iron sheets for Karamoja because the ones that had been procured during supplementary were still being investigated. Yes.
Chair, is that affirmative action for Karamoja during that time? Because he said he could not distribute. It means, was the budget there? We want to see the budget which was there for Karamoja and what was not given.
And sheets, the budget which was there was for the goats. Because we had already bought 94,000 for Karamoja. So that's financial under review. We decided to add it on, getting more goats to cover up the gaps.
What's the current status, sir, on these iron sheets?
Chair, before we proceed, I want to request there was no budget. And the officer still says the budget that was there for Karamoja, we used to add on the goats. Which one is true?
Chair, because we had already procured a number of our 90.
But let me ask you, how about the 8 billion?
Which one? And 8 billion was a supplementary of 2022. So the current financial year, we didn't have. This is 2023.
Is that true?
There was a 10,000 of ordinary iron sheet which you procured. Then still ordinary. You know the change which all along, Prime Minister was buying ordinary iron sheets. Along the way,
on record, sir.
Initially, procurement was for ordinary, these called incendiary iron sheets. Along the way, they advised that for purposes of visibility, we change and buy pre-painted. Visibility. Wherever you go, you could see now yellowish, and branded OPM. Yellow. That's what I could do. That's what I could do.
Color is yellow, Yellow.
So, that financial year, the color is beige, called Beijing, but I'm not the natural color. But the 10,000 for that financial year from the ordinary budget, from the normal budget.
So you are not going to have yellow iron sheets for purposes of visibility.
It is Beijing, not yellow. Chair.
I think you are stretching it too far. I think the visibility of government is in the quality of service delivery.
Yes.
When you deliver a good school, it doesn't matter the color of the iron sheets. Please tell the Prime Minister that
Chair, that was the objective.
that visibility cannot be in the color of the iron sheets. It has to be in the quality and the quantity and the speed for which you utilize services.
Mr. Chairman, before that we
Anyway,
had corrugated
anyway,
sheets
you can't
maroon
blame-
and
you
green
can't blame
distributed. So
the
I don't know
government
where
of-
yellow comes in as
No, but this is anyway, it's your head. I don't tend to make political statements. But you get for what you get. If you are, the president said is the president, that he appointed the fishermen, that is what they can give you. But it was the president's statement, not mine. It is not mine. He said, me, I've appointed my fishermen. They'll give you visibility of yellow, other than quality. But we go ahead. So we proceed. You had...
Chair.
Iron sheet, gauge 28.
Gauge 28.
Yes.
Now, auditor, there is what we speak about the 8 billion. Clarify, what is it for?
Yeah, the 8 billion was from the supplementary. I mean, that the iron sheets procured from the supplementary.
The other previous 20
out of the 39 billion.
Okay.
The 8 billion is part of the 39 billion.
Okay.
But before this 2023, there were already iron sheets, which are ordinary in color, like you have said, 10,000, which had been procured for Karamoja, affirmative. Yes.
But those ones you distributed.
Chair, now that is the report from the Auditor General. We will rely on this report. But I still have concerns. Number one, if there was an issue with the iron sheets distribution, it is not the beneficiaries of Karamoja who caused it. And therefore, denying them to be part of the budget in the financial year that followed is another matter. Because the Constitution is very, very clear. Yes. You cannot discriminate on them based on what? Actions of officers of government. And therefore, you'll have to tell us what went wrong, because those people deserve to get more and you improve on your service. Number two, Chair, if you look through the records, you get amazed. By the time of the audit, only 43% of the iron sheets had been what? Distributed. So we would love this team to show us, number one, what criteria did you use to determine the beneficiaries? Because if you are stuck with the iron sheets, it means you don't know the people you want to give. So you are struggling to see how to take them away and take us to the very station. Yes. So where is the approved work plan? Who approved it? What was the criteria?
But honorable colleagues, if we read the report, it speaks some of the questions you're asking. In 3.32, the utilization of the iron sheets is that out of the 52 beneficiaries sampled, the auditor visited and interviewed 24 beneficiaries who received 2,004 and 43 iron sheets worth 140 million. I was therefore unable to visit and interview 31 beneficiaries because they could not be located at the time of inspection. That is what it says. They could not be located at the time of inspection. He goes ahead. 17, first of all, how could they not be able to be located? But then it says 17 of the 24 beneficiaries interviewed indicated that they had not utilized the iron sheets because they did not have funds to construct houses to enable them to use the iron sheets for roofing. This points to weaknesses within the planning for this intervention. Because who did a needs assessment and said, you know, technically, you are technical. Is that correct? Understand needs what? Assessment. And then realized that all we needed to go to Karamoja to have a game changer were goats and iron what? Sheets. But where they don't even have houses where to put And this is not only in Karamoja, by the way. This is not Karamoja. This is Teso, where they distributed. People did not need iron sheets.
And Chair, the response of the accounting officer speaks to Karamoja and the Karachunas was under here. The accounting officer speaks to Karachunas and the Karamajongs. Yet you said they were not part of...
The accounting officer explained that the current guidelines of iron sheets distribution require that the beneficiaries must have constructed a superstructure. However, for the case of Karamoja, the beneficiaries are Karachunas and other persons who have been identified by local leaders, regardless of whether they have constructed a superstructure or not. Now, how does Karamoja come into this response? Because about Afoteso, Busoga, Bunyoro, are there Karachunas in those areas?
Then, Chair, so that the answer to go. There are people who are allergic to certain colors. And now you decided that you are going to paint everything yellow. What about now those who are in other colors? Are they part of the beneficiaries? Are you thinking how you are becoming unconstitutional, sincerely? Eh? I think, Chair, we are getting answers in this house. This is too much now. How on earth? Very true, Chair, they need to explain. How does Bunyoro have 100% implementation and the rest defer totally? You should tell us the reason. Did we change the staff in the OPM? Or you imported the people who distributed these ones?
I don't know whether our mandate, we may have to some. By the way, I think on this issue,
Affirmative action
we
minister.
may summon the Prime Minister to appear to answer these queries, but we are with an accounting officer. Unless you say you worked on the instruction of the other one, but it is you to advise. Anyway, by the minister that this should be done, but where it isn't, our mandate can't extend that far. Anyway.
Honorable Chair, moving from ordinary plain iron sheets to the pre-painted.
To yellow.
To pre-painted.
You say yellow.
No, sir, because the color is sand beige. That word, which is B-E-I-G-E. Beige.
Beige.
Thank you, Honorable.
It's called beige.
Yes.
They use it a lot in painting, building, but it tends to more to yellow.
So the basic decision...
I can go to the window and show you a beige color. It's more yellow. Actually, her color there is not pure yellow.
The basic decision was to achieve
let me tell
and,
you, where have you ever gone to any part of the country and you find that one on iron sheets? That color?
Honorable Chair, when the decision was taken to go pre-painted, various colors were obtained from the manufacturers, and the top management of OPM chose sand beige, because one of the rationale was not to pick colors which were common on the market, because those colors would be intermingled and leading to loss.
And you go for beige.
Yes.
I think, honorable colleagues, on the distribution, can we carry that?
I'm insisting on this because this is serious about the stores. The Board of Survey report for the stores in Nabambe would love to see it. The Board of Survey.
Can you submit it?
2021, 2022, then 2022, 2023.
Okay.
We'd love to see that Board of Survey report.
Are you going to get us a Board of Surveys report from Namambe? Can we quickly go through a review of other government affirmative action? The ministry billion in the financial year for affirmative action programs, I reviewed, that is 58 billion. I reviewed implementation. Planning for affirmative action program. This is what you do it. Paragraph, I'm on page 11, page 14, 3.4 of the original audit report. Paragraph 6 of the budget execution circular for the financial year states that execution of approved budgets will be based on annual cash plans, approved work plans, procurement plans, and recruitment plans. There was no evidence